Hi everyone, good morning. Today we are checking out 2014 Honda Fit GP5, which belongs to my mom and dad. You can see them in the back seat right there.
Hi.
And when they were overseas briefly last year, Mahen and I did use this car quite a bit for camera duties as well. You may have seen it in some of our previous videos. So now we are actually doing our drive in the car.
Yeah,
so,
Ashrak. I mean, we experienced this car some time ago as well, like you said. For our channel, we did some skits also. You were here in the passenger seat with your feet up, Ashrak, and then we talked about the airbag and all that.
You shouldn't sit with your feet up in a car.
I don't know whether you noticed though, Ashrak, my t-shirt color and the car's color are rather matching
Quite
today.
matching, yes. That's
well,
rather
not
interesting.
exactly, but I kind of decided to wear this t-shirt because of that fact.
Oh, most interesting.
Yeah, and Ashrak, I think you told me about this car. It can be unassumingly fast as well. I mean, we're going to test it out in a bit.
That's because Mahen, when we first bought this car, they bought this car in 2015.
Yes.
Being a Japanese model car or JDM, it's not easy to find literature on it, but I did do a bit of digging at that time, and in the Japanese literature which I had to get translated online, it says that the engine makes about almost 130 horsepower. It's a 1.5 litre VTEC Honda, your typical Honda VTEC engine.
Yes.
Not the D15s, but I think it's a L15,
newer
one. And then you've got a 30 horsepower electric motor. So the system total, because you can't add them together because the two powertrains make peak power at different RPM ranges and stuff. So the total power you get is 137 horsepower, and I think about 190 Newton meters of torque or something like that.
I think, Ashrak, that's quite sufficient for a car this size, and I believe you've been using this car for many years now, and
I haven't.
Yes, uncle and auntie have been maintaining it really, really well. I mean, you can feel it as soon as you get into the car, and now while you're driving, Ashrak, I don't notice any issues with the suspension, etc., which you usually do in older cars that you get into, which are not maintained well.
Yeah, I mean, they are fastidious with it, and same thing that has filtered down to me as well. So in that sense, I mean, and another thing our viewers might be interested to know is, yes, this is one of those Hondas with the infamous DCT transmission, and no, it hasn't had an issue. Because it's very simple, Mahen. These cars were not made for the Sri Lankan market. They were not meant to be driven the way we drive them. So what you've got to avoid doing is you've got to avoid creeping it along in traffic very slowly, which burns the clutches out. You've got to avoid holding it on the brake while in D for long periods, basically. And you've got to treat it more like you would a manual transmission equipped car, where you don't ride the clutch pedal, or you don't slip the clutch, or you don't try to burn the clutch out by doing things like that, basically. Because this has two clutches,
right?
And that's why it also shifts gear very fast when you push it on,
right?
I mean, DCTs are performance oriented transmissions, but they do have their share of issues. So if you're aware of those, I mean, and my parents do the fluid changes on time and all that stuff. We've got a blinking orange here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in that token, I mean, this car has not encountered any DCT issues purely because of being looked after properly.
Correct. So Ashrak, I notice a button with the letter S on it over here, which means that it's got a sports mode as well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you hit the sports mode first. What happens is your gauge cluster, you get the multi-information display there changing into an RPM gauge, but you can also get the RPM gauge on the switches here. Then you'll notice that the gearbox has downshifted, and when you accelerate, it holds gears for longer. So basically what the sport mode does is it doesn't give you any more power. You still have the full power when you need it if you put your hood down.
Right.
It just downshifts and holds the gears for longer, and also I think it increases the throttle response a bit. Yeah, Now, did you notice the car slightly surge forward there?
Yes, I did.
I didn't adjust my position on the throttle. I just pressed the sport button.
Oh.
So it increases the throttle sensitivity.
Okay.
So I'm just going to turn into defense road here.
Yeah.
And then we have a little bit more of an open road, and then we can... Now the 0 to 60 time of this car that I did do a very... now I'll reveal it, which I didn't earlier. But when I was when they were in Canada on the airport expressway, when going to pick them up, I did a rather unscientific hard acceleration test, and it's about 8 seconds from 0
Oh,
to 100.
really? Wow.
So there you are. So that's
about
what it
that.
sounds like.
Yeah. Quite unassuming, Ashrak, for a car like
a lot of
this,
that
right?
sound is engine noise. And
Yes.
I've seen and I've heard people who have put a good exhaust on this car and then it sounds really nice. But then again, also, you don't want an exhaust to be droning all the time when you're not driving fast, do you, Mahen?
Fair enough, Ashok. And what I notice is, Ashok, the AC on this car is quite good. I know you had a bit of trouble, I mean, due to wear and tear over time. Is that a common issue in this car?
In this model, yeah, from what I've heard, yes, the electric AC compressor can go. And yeah, my parents had to fork out quite a tidy sum, didn't you all?
Yes, we did.
I think it was about over 3 lakhs in total to get the thing fixed.
Close to 4.
Close to 4.
Because like it's after the bankruptcy, then the dollar also, rupee
Yeah, the prices
depreciated.
went up.
So then the prices all shot up.
Okay.
So you can't help it. These are
Yeah.
times. You
But-
just got to fork it out.
Correct. So, uncle, I think that is anyway something you have to consider, especially driving in a country like this, a tropical country with warm weather.
Oh yeah,
You definitely
AC is non-negotiable.
Correct. And it brings me to the point where we talk about ventilated seats. Usually, Ashok, I think there are some new Indian vehicles that have
Yeah,
come
they
to
do have the
Sri
ventilated
Lanka.
whole
Yes,
seats, which is very
data
nice.
range. Yes,
Yeah,
but
those are very nice.
yeah.
But here I think in a sense it's not that bad because we've got part leather, part fabric seats. So fabric seats heat up a little less than full leather
Fair
seat
enough.
does. I mean, I know
agree.
personally, you know it, you're very
Yeah, I agree.
So in that sense, yeah, I mean it's quite a smooth drive. And I'm sure people are wondering, okay, fuel economy.
Yes.
Well, that's one thing. Honda hybrids will never do as much fuel economy as a Toyota hybrid simply because of the way the system is made. It's more performance-oriented hybrid system than a fuel-efficient one.
Yeah.
That's why, like I told you, the figures, the engine has more power than the electric motor. Whereas in a Toyota hybrid, the split is more equal. Like the Prius, the Aqua, like the engine and the motor have very similar, close power outputs. Whereas on a Honda hybrid, the engine has more, which means that if your hybrid system has a failure but the car is drivable, you don't lose a lot of performance. You can still use it basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 10.3 kilometers per liter showing right now, and that's about what they get, 10 to 11 in, because it's basically Colombo driving that we all do. Colombo driving mainly, right?
Really.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Mainly Colombo. So yeah, it's around 10, 11. And right now, Mahen, I'm going on the electric motor alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can see the EV light has come on there.
Oh, and we're going at 60.
Yeah, it can up. I have seen up to about 75 it can do on the electric motor.
That's quite cool.
And when new, the rated range of the battery was up to 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers.
Okay.
And I think it still can do that. I mean, because yeah, I don't think there's that much battery depreciation in this car either.
Yeah.
Now the
That's
motor is
awesome.
switched off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull over and then give you the driving seat.
Thank you. Okay.
Hey, look, another quid just like yours, but he has a
It's
the stripes, yeah,
non-modified quid.
and breakdown. Yeah,
Yeah, good.
good to go.
Okay, so now it's my turn to drive the Honda Fit 2014. I mean, again, as I took off, what I noticed was, Ashok, it was quite effortless.
And did you hear that little whine?
Yes, I did.
That is because from a standstill, the motor actually assists the engine. So
I see.
in normal driving, in most cases, it's starting on the motor and then the engine is coming into
Yes.
play.
And Ashok, I mean, I must say now I'm at 70, right? It did not feel like, I'm going at 70. It felt like 40 or
Effortless,
something.
right? I mean, it's
effortless,
very,
to be honest. Very unassuming.
And I don't
Ashok,
think you
that's
felt
word.
the gearbox shift either, right?
No,
That's the
it's
nature of a
quite
DCT.
smooth. Exactly. And then Ashok, like you were saying, the DCT transmission comes with its pros and cons as well.
Yeah, it does.
The points that Ashok highlighted earlier were important.
Actually,
for you to
I
know.
think next to a CVT, a DCT is probably the most maintenance intensive kind. It's not
Really?
like the old torque converter automatic like in your Verada where you can go 40,000 or 50,000 kilometers between oil changes and minimal maintenance.
Yes.
Those are the sturdiest type, by the way.
Yes.
Then the CVT also is fairly okay. You got to change the fluid, and of course you have to worry about things like belt slippage and all.
Yes.
But the DCT, because the fact it uses the actual clutches, that's
Yeah.
where you have a bit more of a maintenance element. But yeah, like I said, if you do the oil changes and the maintenance and you don't overheat. Now, if you do overheat the transmission, there is actually a warning that comes in Japanese, of course, but it has like a picture of 2 cogs, like 2 gears.
I'm pretty sure you've seen that a few times, Ashrak, especially if you've driven this car.
Actually, I've seen it once.
Okay.
and it won't actually come under hard driving, Mahin,
Oh, really?
that kind of thing, because
okay.
that will come under circumstances where, for example, you're trying to hold the car at a standstill on the gearbox, or like when you're on a slight
really?
uphill and you're like trying to hold it there rather than using the brake and putting it into neutral, or if you're trying to reverse up an incline and you're, because of poor visibility, you're having to be a bit like gentle, like very slow moving, then you get that kind of warning if you overheat the gearbox.
Right. Now that you brought it up, Ashrak, have you driven this up country, along the winding roads to New Aurelia, etc.?
Candy, yeah. No, I haven't driven. I think you all have taken it to Aurelia, right? Yeah,
Okay.
they have gone to New Aurelia. I haven't gone.
Okay, interesting. So,
we went with you also. You remember when we went for...
No, we went
Ah.
to Candy,
No, we went to Norelia for lunch.
Yes. I remember. Yeah, now I remember. Yes.
We came back.
yeah, but
Yeah, with Zara we
She
went.
really
I
pulls
remember.
up the hill.
oh, really?
Yeah, uphill
Awesome.
is effortless.
Awesome. So, I guess this
I
is.
got the sports mode then.
Oh, right. yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Really climbs.
Okay, we're in sports mode now. Wow.
Now you felt the gear shift.
Yeah,
gear shift,
yeah,
right?
It's quite nice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Ashrak, what I would like to point out to our viewers as well is that now, in terms of how spacious this cabin is, right?
Yeah, I mean, we need to show the real leg room because it has to be seen. It's one of those seen to be believed kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're talking about hatchback category, but actually, I think it offers more space than some of the compact SUVs that you see in the country right now, Ashrak.
Probably does, given that I think this car is slightly less than 4 meters long, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It is, I think, 3.995 meters long. So in that category, I mean, of course, there are a few cons that you have to maintain. And remember when I was going with my parents looking for cars, it was this or the Aqua, but my mom didn't like the Aqua's looks that much, and also
The seats were pretty hard.
the seats
Okay,
were
fair
hard,
enough.
and the Aqua had much less rear leg room.
Oh, really?
It had a little bit more boot space, but much less rear leg space. So on that token, this offered a better proposition in that sense. Of course, neither car has spare wheels, so we have put a spare wheel there in the boot.
Yeah, that's.
But
that's
I mean, it
smart.
has. I don't think you'll ever had to take the spare wheel out for a trip, right? You had enough space for luggage.
So you've been owning this car since 2014?
15.
2015.
Yeah, it was used in September 2015. It was used in Japan for 1 year. Yeah, it'll be 10 years this year.
That's brilliant, and it doesn't feel like a 10-year-old car, to be honest. So hats off to you, uncle and auntie, for maintaining this car so well. And maybe, Ashrak, we can ask uncle and auntie how they feel about this car. They've been using it for the longest time.
Do tell us a bit.
Well, the car is, I'm very comfortable driving the car, and I just love it because I too love driving cars. I have been driving mostly manuals, and this is our first auto car, and it took me some time to get used to the car,
Okay.
and having 3 pedals.
Yes.
So
fair
in the
enough.
first instance,
Fair enough.
my leg would go all over,
Okay.
and then
Yeah, you're
after
looking for a
driving this
clutch,
car,
right?
I really
Yeah.
feel good, and I love the engine noise because
Yes.
I listen to anything.
Okay.
And if there's something wrong with the car, I immediately know it.
Right. Interesting, auntie. Thank you for sharing that feedback.
You're welcome.
And so you were talking about driving manual cars. I believe you are referring to the Nissan Sunny N16 that Ashrak.
Nissan Sunny, the Toyota Carina,
Right, the Mitsubishi Lancer, that's
and
what
the
I learned
Mitsubishi
driving
Lancer. That was the shoe light.
Okay.
No, you had the
And we
CB
had
CB
the,
series.
yes, the Mitsubishi.
So that was also a Lancer, CB
That was
series.
also a Lancer.
Right.
That's what I learned driving in.
And I learned all about cars by getting those.
Yes. Ashrak told me,
whatever
yes.
that went wrong with the car, I was in the garages.
Fair
and
enough.
they taught me a lot.
Yeah, I've heard so, and same with me as well, auntie. I think you hit the nail on the head because I used to have a Maruti 800 when I was a kid, or not when I was a kid, but when I was younger than this.
Yeah, okay.
And my dad always got me to go to the service center and ask them questions, etc. I thought it was a little overboard, but then I think that's what really taught me what I know right now. So I think it's important.
It's the best way to learn.
It's like on the job training, to be honest.
And it's also, it has another purpose as well, where if you go to a place where the guys are not too experienced, so they're trying to fool with you.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and you can tell them, no, hang on a second, that's not right.
Correct.
I always say, if you drive a car, you must know something about the car.
For sure. I think especially, you know, how long have you got to wait before you do your next oil change, your automatic transmission fluid change if it's an automatic car. I think simple things like that.
You
Tires.
need to be aware of those things.
Yeah. How long can you use your tires from the manufactured date, etc. I think those are things that people usually shrug off. Yeah. And I think those are some of the things, Ashrak, that we really need to be mindful of.
That is true.
Yes. I mean, I've been driving this car for a while. I know I drove it some time ago as well. But I think, it's been, great. It's held up over the past 10 years really well. And I think that's mainly due to how it has been maintained, Ashrak. Where do you usually maintain this car?
Well, I mean, I think that's for them to answer
Yes.
because
Okay, for a service, of course, I go to the company, Stafford Motors.
Right.
And they do a very good job. And if there's anything wrong or whatever, they would tell me.
this is the one in Maradana, right?
Yeah, in Maradana. And thereafter, then we take it to Mercantile.
Right.
Where I maintain my car.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, for the body work and all that. Because
Awesome.
uncle has also
Changing.
a little bit of dents here and there, only at the back, only the buffer, you know.
Okay.
And once when there was a trisha that came and he couldn't stop in time, he banged into the car.
Oh no.
It's all body work really.
And we just saw that.
And
Yeah,
it's
it's
well
not
maintained. We always see that everything is maintained. And I check on the brakes also. I know when I drive the car.
Right.
And check on all that. And it's done at the end. I tell Ashraf, we have to do this. And
Okay.
that. And he
Okay.
comes and checks it out again.
Okay.
And
It's
then
like-
it's done.
Perfect. And then this color is also quite characterful. I haven't seen many of this car in this particular color, Ashrak.
This color.
Yeah, it's a bit
this was
rare.
what Uncle saw.
Okay.
I was looking for the car, like
Right.
a proper color.
Right.
And I was going to I wanted the dark blue, like an ink blue.
Oh,
There's a
But
dark
I
that
think
blue.
I know.
I was not too happy with how they dealt with us because I felt that the speedometer, no, not the speedometer,
The mileage might have been
yeah,
tampered.
the mileage
Yes.
would have been, adjusted.
Mind you,
Okay.
Mahen, I'm not going to mention the name of the place, but it's one of the biggest car importers in Colombo. They have a
Oh,
massive
really?
place in the heart of Colombo, one of the biggest names.
Oh.
And basically, we even
That's
paid an
alarming.
advance. And then when we went to actually see the car, they made up some excuse that they couldn't find the key when we want to do the test drive on a pre-agreed date.
Oh,
So
wow.
for us, that was a bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
So because of that, we didn't go with them, and we managed to get our deposit back also.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so there's something for you. Like sometimes the guys you expect to be the cleanest are not. And
Yes.
as chance would have it, we were looking for this model in the papers, and then there was a small guy in near Korte, right near the
Korte,
temple
yes.
on the Bedagana road, somewhere there.
Right.
And so we went there down a little road, and he had a few cars in like
Right.
I think what was probably like a converted house, and
Right.
this
This had just come down.
it had
Oh.
just arrived.
Right. Interesting. Ashrak, so now if you're considering buying new cars in Sri Lanka, it's super expensive, especially brand new cars. Now, if someone were to consider a Honda Fit from 2014, what advice would you have
Well, I would say try to get the car checked from a place like Jan's Car Checks.
Yeah.
Make sure it has records. Like for example, now for this you're not gonna have emission tests because it's a hybrid, so you don't have that thing to verify mileage on. But
Right.
like Car Checks and people like that can verify mileage.
Correct.
Look at the condition of the car.
Yeah.
Ask to see the file of receipts for repairs. Make sure things like the DCT fluid and all have been changed.
Yes.
Basically, try to find a car that's been maintained as much as possible, because see, Mahen, a car can look good because it's very easy to detail a car.
Correct.
But
Talking about detailing and accessorizing and
yeah,
modifying.
both our cars
just
right now.
tried.
So yeah, in that token, it's very easy to get a car to look good quickly, but when you drive it, it should also feel tight. It should feel like it's been maintained. It should feel smooth. It should drive well.
Correct.
So nowadays if you're going to buy a second-hand car, I would say it's a little better than it would have been 6 months ago.
Yes.
But it's still something that you shouldn't basically you shouldn't do an impulse purchase.
Fair enough, Ashok. So if you look at practicality, space, fuel efficiency, looks, comfort, and everything else, Ashok, I think that is all combined in this package.
Pretty much. Only for the fuel efficiency point, yes. If you want more fuel efficient, well, you can't beat a Toyota hybrid. The Aqua, the Prius, those are made for that.
Correct.
But then again, the driving experience is not going to be as nippy as this. Like when you get out of that and into this and back into that again, you're going to feel the difference. So it all boils down to whether are you a bit of a enthusiast driver who likes a bit of performance, or are you simply interested only in fuel efficiency and that kind of thing. And of course, the other thing is with the Toyota hybrids, they have CVT gearboxes, so it's not going to be as intense to maintain as this. But it's not intense, it's just few things you need to watch out for.
Correct.
But then I have also heard, Mahin, that on the Toyotas there are some ABS system failures that can cost several lakhs as well. So all cars as they get older do have, like right now as we speak, my car has a power steering leak.
Okay.
So,
you told me about it, Ashik. So how about ground clearance?
On this,
people might have a question.
Not sure how much it is, but I don't think you'll have an issue with ground clearance, right?
No, we have not, because we don't attempt, if it's a high speed bump, we don't attempt because the battery behind.
Yeah, the battery is below the cargo compartment, and it's a little low slung, so
So we're careful on that. Other than that, no issue.
Okay, great. I think Ashok, we've done our part
Yeah,
today.
we've got
And
a really
big,
good
thank you to uncle and auntie,
Thank you guys
Ashok's
for
parents.
featuring our car.
No, it's been great, and thank you for being patient with us. We had a few issues with our camera, or rather the mics before we started, but auntie and uncle were patient enough with us, of course. Yes. And also big thank you to auntie and uncle for encouraging us over the past year. And
thank you for your
Our
support.
pleasure, yes.
To see you guys carry things forward.
thank you. And
Coincidentally, the day we are recording this is exactly on the 1 year anniversary of our channel.
exactly. And
Congratulations.
Thank
6th
you.
of April.
yeah, and a big thank you to
Keep
my
going,
parents
keep going.
also.
Yeah,
Yes,
your parents
thanks.
have really
And-
supported. Your dad always puts comments on the YouTube.
Yeah, and my
encouraging
mom
us.
also. And since I think I was a kid, they used to buy me toys almost every other day, and
Yeah,
they
the
kept
spark
this
has been,
going.
that's
And,
good.
I think I'm really happy, and Ashok, I think we're going to celebrate today,
Yep.
and
We're gonna
maybe you'll
feast.
See, yeah, exactly. More of
You
that
guys
footage
all
soon.
Thanks.
Indulge yourself.
Thank you.
Will do.
1 year later. Okay, thanks
a lot.
See you guys.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, and drive safe. No, same actually.